It's the height of summer in my garden and pretty much everything's at full growth and looking nice and lush and good. But there is one plant that unfortunately, even though I've cared for it, is not looking very good. And that is one of my tree ferns. So if you just follow me around here, over here we have a very large tree fern. It's over 7 foot tall, maybe 8 foot tall. I got it as a free swap really. So I didn't actually pay for this, but as you can see at the top, the leaves are tiny. And what's happened with this tree fern is basically it was too dry. It's been dry as it was imported to the UK, and then it's been dry since before I bought it. And because it's quietly sort of exposed in this location, because it's so tall and sticks out and gets lots of sun, I've not been able to keep up with the watering, and I've not been able to get a good flush of growth on this. So because of that, unfortunately, I've decided that I'm going to actually dig this up. And what I want to show in this video is how well rooted tree ferns can get. Because this has been here 4 or 5 seasons now, and the roots come down the trunk, as you can see on the outside, but they also go into the ground and go quite a long way, knit together all the soil, so it's very hard to plant anything else in this. So I'm going to, rather than just cut round the base, we're going to actually try to pull this over to try to get out as much root as we can, so you can see how much root these tree ferns get. Now you may remember, if you watch my videos for a long time, about 10 years ago now, myself and my wife actually dug up a tree fern at my old house, and it was quite comical because we didn't realise how far the roots would really expand after just a couple of years in the ground. This one's been in the ground a lot longer, but because it's been so dry, I'm not expecting the roots to have gone as far because it's never really properly established. I had these stakes in here to keep it firm in the ground, because when I planted it, it was only about 20 centimetres depth of the trunk planted into the ground, so it was quite top heavy. But we'll have a go at sort of basically bear hugging it and pulling it over just to see if we can pull out most of the roots. So I'm just going to lever it back, see if I've got some space, and then hopefully we'll lift up the tree fern or pull it over. So here we go. As you can see, it's pulling the ground quite a lot. It's heaving over, and I'm not really getting anywhere with this. The ground's moving. So what I think we might have to do is we might actually, I just caught my breath, we might have to dig around here because the roots, they're going substantially across the ground, and even with all this force and my 80 kilograms or so, it's not wanting to come over. So it's time for plan B. Right, before I go to plan B, I'm going to have another go at pulling this over. Just going to keep waggling at it basically, using my weight. Hopefully we can actually pull it over and we can see the size of this root ball. Dirty, definitely covered in fibres, which don't really want to breathe in. They're all over me now. Got an angle here, but it's quite a long way to go because it really is under the path, over this inula, fascia, scheffler. So got to be careful really. We don't dig up everything, but I think we're nearly there. Yeah, this root ball down here was pretty substantial. I think we've got it now. We've got to be careful of all the other plants underneath it. Just move that out of the way. There we go. See if we can pull it the other way. Yeah, really loose now. There we go. Timber. So, what's happened here is I've ripped it away from its own root ball. So we'll get a closer look and I'll show you what's happened. But it's damp under there. So this tree fern, being able to get water from the ground up to feed the leaves, to water, to give fluids up there, but it's a long way, well over 7-8 foot tall. So it's a long way to get that water. The air's pretty dry, that dries off, and basically it's just not been an ideal location for this tree fern. Even just 3 or 4 meters away, we've got 2 free tree ferns that are looking really good with long, luscious fronds. This one has never prospered. So I'll have a bit of an autopsy, look at the roots, look at the size of this root ball. It's something to consider when you're planting a tree fern, that the roots do go out a long way, and if you ever need to move one or lift one, might be a bit of brute strength needed, or a bread knife to cut round, but then you're left with the mat of roots in the ground. So ideally you want to get most of the roots out. So we can see the tree fern has been toppled now. You can see the very pathetic foliage at the top there, and we can see the trunk laid on the ground. But more importantly, let's have a look at the roots. So just move this leaf, you can see how much was underground. So like I said, about 20-30 centimeters. That's rooted out. I've torn through the roots on this side. Look into the ground, all this area is root. And if we look on this side, move some leaves out of the way, you can see all this root base. So we've got a massive area that's been uplifted from here all the way under this inula, and also up to this schefflera up there as well. So what I'll do is I'll remove this tree fern now. I'll make this good. Need to put this wooden post back together, and I'll cut out some of this very matted root. It covers a large area over here, probably a couple of meters squared. I won't go quite that far, but that just goes to show you how much root you get on tree ferns and how much effort it took me to actually lever and dig up this tree ferns. Hopefully that gives you an indication of how vigorous the roots can be, even on a specimen like this, which isn't in great health. But just to show you how far away the other tree ferns are that are doing good, if I just walk down the path, here we can see a very, very happy tree fern that's grown several centimeters every year. It's grown well over 30-40 centimeters since I bought it, and another one over here as well. So if they're happy, they'll grow well. As you can see here, it was actually just there when I bought it, and all this up here is new growth. It's more than trebled in size since I bought it. So it just goes to show,
I said it before, I'll say it again, right plant, right place.
Right plant in the right place, you get a nice good result, happy tree fern like this. Whereas just over there, plant that was struggling when I got it, exposed because of the height it was above the other plants, means, and it was in full sun at the top, means it was struggling all the time and it's demised. So I will not be planting a tree fern again in that spot. So Thank you for watching this edition of Exotic Gardening UK. Join me next week where I'll be doing more in the garden.